Hello, everyone. Welcome to Unfiltered and Unapologetic, the space where we heal out loud, bring our culture into the conversation, and remember that softness is our strength. I'm your host, Caitlin Gil-Soto, born and raised in Lawrence, Massachusetts, and always traveling between Bani y El Cibao and proudly Dominicana. Today's episode is called When God Starts Whispering. Signs it's time to let go in love and in friendship. Because not every ending comes with fireworks or a fight. Sometimes it comes as a whisper, a shift in your spirit, a tension in your chest when someone's name appears on your phone, a prayer that no longer feels aligned. Sometimes God doesn't speak in thunder. He speaks in silence. For me, God has always talked in different ways. Sometimes I dream about it. Other times he shows me through small moments. Coincidences that aren't really coincidences. But the one way I've learned to truly listen is through unease. When my peace leaves, I know God is trying to get my attention. And every time I've ignored that feeling, I've paid the price in exhaustion, confusion, or heartbreak. We're going to talk about that unease, the quiet nudge that says something isn't right anymore. Because letting go isn't just about romance. It's also about friendships that no longer feel safe, family dynamics that keep you small, or circles where peace has quietly packed its bags. In Dominican culture, we were raised to aguantar, or to endure, to stay, to keep giving chances, to confuse patience with self-abandonment. But what if God's whisper is actually your permission to stop aguantando, or enduring? What if peace leaving is how he's telling you, it's time to move? So today, we're going to explore the subtle ways God shows us when a season has ended and how to listen before it turns to chaos. Let's start with the first sign. The first sign that God gives you that something has expired is simple but powerful. Your peace leaves the room. You used to feel calm around them. Now your spirit tenses before they even arrive. You start praying harder, journaling more, and trying to talk to yourself out of the truth that's already sitting in your gut. You tell yourself you're overthinking when really your soul is just ahead of your mind. I've learned that when God removes peace, he's not punishing me. He's protecting me. Peace is his confirmation. Restlessness is his red flag. And if I'm honest, there were times I begged God to keep relationships intact that he already released. I didn't want to face the loneliness that came with obedience. I kept aguantando because I didn't want to look like I gave up. But peace shouldn't be something you chase. It should be something you live in. I remember one season when someone close to me slowly stopped feeling like home. Every conversation left me tired, not filled. I started praying for clarity, but deep down I already had it. The clarity was in my discomfort. When I finally surrendered and let them go, everything around me began to align again. Doors opened, my mood lifted, and I realized that sometimes the cost of keeping someone is your connection to God's peace. And if you're in that place, I have a journal prompt here for you guys. Ask yourself this: where have I been trying to force peace instead of protecting it? And the affirmation for this question is, if peace is gone, I can let go with grace. Because when peace walks out, that's often God walking out first. Quietly, gently, showing you it's time to follow. Here's the thing. Before God lets a relationship fall apart, He'll let the conversation fade first. You'll notice it in small ways. The rhythm changes. The calls that used to last hours now end in minutes. You can find yourself rehearsing what to say so that you won't trigger tension. You stop sharing your joy because it feels like bragging. You stop sharing your pain because it feels like a burden. And suddenly, the person who used to get you now feels like a stranger wearing someone you loved. In friendships, it's the one-sided effort. You keep checking in, remembering birthdays, asking how they're doing, but your messages are met with short replies or long silences. And yet, you still try to keep the energy alive because you remember what it used to be. But God doesn't live in used to. He lives in truth, alignment, and evolution. Sometimes He allows miscommunication or emotional distance so you can finally see you've been carrying the whole connection alone. You've been watering something that stopped growing seasons ago. And He'll stop the flow of words before He lets you pour from an empty cup again. It doesn't mean you hate them. It doesn't mean they're a bad person. It just means the assignment is complete. You don't owe anyone a version of yourself that no longer exists. And you don't have to keep talking to prove that love once lived there. I have another journal prompt here for you guys. What conversations have I been avoiding because the truth would change everything? And the affirmation for this question is, I don't have to shrink to be understood. Let's talk about how God shows you, especially in a culture like ours, where everything is loud. In Dominican culture, life moves with sound. There's bachata playing in the background, pots clanging on the stove, cousins laughing, people talking over each other. There's always movement. There's always noise. But God doesn't compete with noise. God speaks to you in silence. He speaks in the tightness in your chest, in that small sigh before you answer the phone, in that I don't even know why I feel this way moment. That's Him. He's saying, look again. Sometimes He'll even let you get what you prayed for, just so you can see it's not what you needed. He'll let the wrong friendship reveal itself through subtle betrayals or inconsistent energy. He'll let the wrong relationship feel familiar enough to tempt you, but draining enough to wake you up. And when you start to question it, you'll hear that little Dominican voice in your head. Maybe it's your mom's or your tia saying, aguanta, or to endure, as I mentioned. Because that's what we were taught, right? To stay, to push through, to prove we can handle it, to wear strength like armor and call it faith. But real faith isn't holding on. It's about trusting God enough to let go. It's saying, even if I don't understand it yet, I trust that God is removing this for my peace. I've had moments when people disappeared from my life suddenly. No fight, no closure, just distance. And years later, I realized that God seen conversations I didn't, intentions I couldn't, and energy I kept excusing. He wasn't punishing me, He was protecting me. We love to say that God knows why He does things, but we rarely think about what that means. It means He saw what you couldn't. He heard what they said when you weren't around. He knows how much more peaceful your spirit will be when that weight is gone. I have another journal prompt here for you guys. Where has God been showing me something, but I've been too afraid to listen? And the affirmation for this question is, I trust God's voice, even when it comes through silence. Sometimes God will keep sending you the same test until you stop calling it bad luck and start calling it a lesson. It's the same pattern with a different face. the same arguments with new people, the same heartbreak in a different season. It feels familiar because it is. You're revisiting a class you didn't finish. In my own life, I realized that God is trying to get my attention. He'll let the cycle repeat until I see it for what it is. And when I finally recognize it, it's not with shame, it's with clarity. Because the moment you say, I've been here before, is the moment you get to choose different. Dominican culture teaches us to normalize struggle, especially in love. We hear our tias say, that's just how love is, as if love will always hurt a little. We romanticize suffering in songs and novelas, and we inherit this belief that endurance equals devotion. But God doesn't call you to endure pain that He never assigned to you. If He keeps showing you the same storyline, it's because He wants you to change the ending. I have a journal prompt here for you guys. What painful pattern keeps reappearing? And what might God be asking me to release? And the affirmation for this question is, I can honor the lesson without reliving it. After you finally let go, the next sign is a quiet one. Isolation. And that's the hardest to accept. When you've been the giver, the fixer, the friend everyone leans on, that sudden silence feels like abandonment. You start asking God, where is everyone? Why am I alone again? But what feels like emptiness is actually holy space. God is making room for what aligns with your peace. In Dominican families, solitude is often misunderstood. If you're alone, people ask, ¿Y el novio? Or where's the boyfriend? Or they assume you're going through something sad. But sometimes being alone is the loudest evidence of God's presence, because He finally has your full attention. When He separates you, He's not punishing you. He's pruning you. He's removing distractions, noise, and attachments that can't go where He's taking you. If He allowed everyone to come with you, you'd never learn to hear His voice for yourself. The faith connection here comes from Isaiah 30:21. Your ears shall hear a word behind you saying, this is the way, walk in it. That's the voice you hear in solitude, the gentle guidance that can only be heard when everything else quiets down. I have a journal prompt here for you guys. What would happen if I trusted my solitude instead of fearing it? And the affirmation for this question is, loneliness is not punishment, it's preparation. When God starts to give you clarity, it rarely feels peaceful at first. It feels like heartbreak, confusion, and that ache in your chest that won't go away. Because clarity doesn't come to comfort you. It comes to free you. There's a difference between comfort and alignment. Comfort keeps you in the familiar, even when it drains you. Alignment stretches you toward peace, even when it scares you. I used to pray for clarity and then get mad when God gave it to me because His answer didn't match what I wanted. But I've learned that God won't compete with your attachments. He'll slowly remove what distracts you from the peace you've been asking for. In Dominican households, we're taught to stay where we're comfortable. Keep the job, stay in the friendship, don't shake things up. But God's direction often lives outside of comfort. Sometimes His no is really a rescue, not a rejection. So if something feels off, if you keep forcing what used to flow, trust that He is making space for peace to return. I have another journal prompt here for you guys. Am I confusing comfort with compatibility? And the affirmation for this question is God's clarity is my protection, even when it hurts. Letting go is an act of faith. It's not weakness. It's not quitting. It's obedience. Release means trusting that what's meant for you won't need to be chased. It means remembering that peace isn't a prize you earn. It's a promise you receive once you stop gripping what God already closed. When I've had to release people, it never felt easy. There were nights I cried, I replayed every memory, and questioned if I made the right choice. But the peace that came after, that peace was proof that God has been right all along. In Dominican culture, we say, lo que es pa ti, nadie te lo quita, or what's for you, no one can ever take it away. And that's truth. What's meant for you will never require begging God to keep it, or begging someone to stay. The Bible says in Romans 8:28, and we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love him. That means even the endings are part of your good. Even the losses are part of your preparation. So bless what left. Thank God for what it taught you. And open your hands again. I have the last journal prompt here for you guys. What do I need to bless so I can finally move on? And the affirmation for this question is, I release what no longer reflects the person I'm becoming. Now we're going to go into the prayer. Put your hand on your chest and take a deep breath. And exhale. Dear God, thank you for speaking to me in ways my heart can feel. Through dreams, through silence, and through the unease that protects me. Thank you for every time you took something away that I was too scared to release. Teach me to trust your whispers even when they lead me into unknown spaces. Remind me that endings are not punishment. They are preparation. Help me stop aguantando what no longer holds peace, and give me courage to walk away with grace. Fill the empty spaces with faith, peace, and purpose. And when I forget, whisper again, softly, clearly, patiently, until I listen. Amen. If this episode spoke to you today, take it as confirmation, not coincidence. Sometimes God uses someone else's story to echo the whisper he's been giving you. And if your peace has been restless lately, this is your reminder. He's already shown you what to do. Remember, letting go isn't losing faith. It's living it. It's trusting God's plan is still unfolding, even when it hurts, even when it's quiet. Thank you for spending this time with me here on Unfiltered and Unapologetic, the space where we heal out loud, bring our culture into the conversation, and remember that softness is our strength. If today's message resonated, share it with someone who needs a gentle nudge to release what's been heavy. And don't forget to subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or YouTube, wherever you listen, so you don't miss the next episode. You could connect with me on Instagram at Caitlin La Jefa and follow the podcast at Unfil and Unapologetic Pod for journal prompts, healing reflections, and Dominican softness reminders every week. Until next time, mi gente, may you listen to the whispers before they turn into storms. May you protect your peace the way God protects you. And may you walk away when peace does. Thank you for listening, everyone. See you in the next episode.